Hello, this is Steven Seifert, QDF 9.0. This is Saturday, and we're doing session 2 here this morning. This is for upper intermediates, your fancy schmancy a little bit. This tune, Playable Fancy Tunes in the 135 tuning, this workshop. This class will be using the DF sharp A tuning. Oh, I did tell you. DAD players, just tune your middle string down to F sharp and your melody string down to A. We'll use this tuning to play bluesy and jazzy music that use fancy chords and melody notes. I'll show you 3 to 5 tunes depending on time. So just listen to a little bit of this. It's kind of neat. You get a root, third, and a fifth of a chord. So one thing I want you to enjoy is just some finger picking, or if you want to use a pick, that's fine. I'm going to just do 000 or 333 or 444 or maybe 111, 444, 222, 555. So I want you guys to follow along with me. I'm just going to call out, instead of saying 222, because I want you to hold down all twos, I'm just going to call out a 2. And let's do a little, kind of a bluesy little finger pick or strummy thing. We'll start with 000. 1, 2, ready, go. Boom-ka, chaka, doo-ka, chaka, doo-ka, chaka. Now do 5s. Chaka, doo-ka, chaka, doo. Now do 1s. And then 4s. Can you hear me okay? And then open. 5s. 1s, 4s, and then open. 2s, 5s, 1s, and then 4s, and then open. 3s, open. Now do 5s. 1s, 4s, open. 3, 5, 4, and then open. Do you hear that jazzy, bluesy thing you're getting? And all you're holding down is all the same number. You can call it a bar chord, and we use 1 finger to do it, but you can also use 3 fingers to do it, or throw a thumb in there. Turn your hand one way or the other. The middle string, if you just strum all the strings and then try out notes on the middle string, it sounds terrible. Listen to this. You know, it's not terrible. It's just harmonically risky, maybe you could call that. But those weird notes on the middle, properly managed, we can use to get fancy notes, fancy chords, things that normally aren't available on a regular dulcimer in the DAD tuning. And notice I don't even have a 1.5 fret on here, but I'm getting all that stuff. So I think this is a tuning you'll see slide guitar, Hawaiian steel, pedal steel players. There's guitar tunings. A lot of early blues guitar tunings would have tunings like this, but they had all the frets. We're missing frets, but still we can have fun with it. And the quick history of this is David Schnaufer, back in the 80s, I think, talked to Rob Brereton and told him about this and said, why don't you work some stuff up? If you look up Rob Brereton on YouTube, you'll find all these jazz arrangements. It's pretty cool. It sounds great. Don't come around much anymore, that kind of stuff. And David did some pieces like this. Now, at one point in the 90s and 2000s, all of a sudden, yeah, and banjos do that too, Chris. All of a sudden in the 2000s, I think 90s and 2000s, there was a website and it was called 135.com or something. I forget. Now, it went away, and a couple of the people passed away. I was able to download the entire archive of music. They were very careful about keeping it legal. So it was all pre-1923 or something at that point. But I've got, I think, about 100 tunes or more arranged by 5 different people for this tuning. And I'm happy to just give that to you guys if it's not already out there online. So we'll figure that out later. But I'm going to walk you through some of these today. Let's look at, where do we start? The beginning is a good place to start. I want to prove to you something. If you know how to play in DAA, you can play the melody on the melody string. You know, so often in this tuning, the melody is going to sit on the melody string, and then everything else happen, you know, chords happen on the other 2 strings. But just look at Down in the Valley real quick. And I want you to just pretend you're a traditional player. You're doing a full strum. You've got the melody string. This is nothing fancy. But I want you to see that this can be used to just play simple tunes. Now, you tuned your melody string down and also your middle. And what this means is they're more flexible now. And if you press too hard, they're going to go sharp. So this really rewards you for having a light touch. It will train you to have a light touch. Let's play this tune. 1, 2, Down in the Valley. 1, 2, 3. 5s, 3s. Those circled numbers just show dotted half notes. 4s. 4. Second line, 0, 2, 4, 6. Probably sounds a little more dissonant. I'm playing different notes. Go to the third line, 0, 3, 4. And then 3s, 5, 7, 7. 4s. Don't fret, heavy. Keep it light. Last line, 0, 2, 4, 6. 4s. 2, 3, 4, and then a 3. Now this tune in particular, we can throw a chord in really easily. Go ahead, Chris.
We don't have that sheet music on our screen yet.
Oh, I know. What do I? Yeah, you do. You've just got the first little bit of it, but probably you want to look at this one. That's one of your handouts there. Yeah. Yeah, I can only show like 2 lines on this one here. Well, now I've started something. What do I have? Okay. Running this class is like playing with a flight simulator or something. It's crazy. I got multiple screens. I've got a haptic suit on. All right, so Down in the Valley. Look at measures 5 and 6. It calls for an A chord. Now, just take my word for it. When we get to measures 5 and 6, you can hold down all 4s. Just hold down all 4s there on all 3 strings. Let's try that out from the beginning. 1, 2, 3. 5, 4, 3. Now do all 4s, all strings. Hear that? Now, the cool thing about the second line, and this is just a teaser, instead of playing 0, 2, 4, 6 at the beginning of the second line, watch this. I'm going to continue to hold down all 4s, and I'm just going to play bass, middle, melody. And I actually hold down all 4s so you have a thumb or something so that you can play the 6 on the melody string. So again, you're going to hold down all 4s, hit the bass string, hit the middle string, hit the melody string. Keep those 4s down, but just add a 6 on the melody. So that's a little teaser, but you start figuring out how to add these different chord shapes. And this is not a fancy tune. This does not have fancy notes outside of the scale or fancy chords. All right, any questions about this? This is just to let you see a basic idea.
I didn't quite get what the circled notes meant.
It just echoes what's above them, which is hollow note heads. So if you have a half note, a dotted half, or a whole, it's like a little reminder. That's funny. Right as I said Notehead, I saw your last name, Whitehead. That was just a fun little coincidence for me. Okay. Let's look at another tune. Let's go to Put Your Little Foot. So this is the next step in my introduction to this kind of thing. Put Your Little Foot is a great tune. And in Ireland, they have another name called Shoe the Donkey, maybe, or something. Shoe the Donkey. I'm not sure. But I think it's like Shoe the Donkey.
Steve, is it Shave the Donkey?
No. But I think it's very close to Shoe the Donkey. So what's funny is in Ireland, it's called Shoe the Horse, basically. And then in Texas, it's called Put Your Little Foot. I always thought this was about a woman dancing or something, but I think it's about a horse. Put your little foot, so we can put a horseshoe on it, maybe. Now, this one I'm not giving you chords either, but this one is now a fancier melody. It's something that you normally couldn't do with normal dulcimer fretting. If you had a 1.5, you could get some of it, but some of this you can't get, like in measure 6. You'd have to have an O.5, like Larry Conger has. I also play chromatic dulcimer, but I primarily play the regular. Why would I do it on a regular instead of chromatic? Because it's neat. They make yo-yos that are like robot yo-yos that have microchips in them, and they do all kinds of fancy stuff. I like doing tricks on a wooden yo-yo. I don't need a transaxle ball-bearing yo-yo. Give me an old-fashioned... I like doing tricks on the plain thing. So let's play this one a second, and you're going to do this nice and slow. I want to make sure I can see the whole thing. Thank you for your patience. There we go. Put your little foot. I'm going to go 1 and 2, and you're going to start. 1 and 2. I'm just hitting one string at a time. Hold that one, and then into measure 6. Hear that? Third line. Keep going. Measure 10. All this is fairly normal. Measure 12. Fourth line. And then we're going to go back to the top. Use this first ending. Let's go back to the top. Measure 2 right here. Hear that chromatic? Second line, hold the 4, hold it. We'll stop right here. So this is an example. I think this is a good tuning for when you have a tune that's mostly traditional. It just has that one little quirky note in it. So before we move on to the big boy stuff and the big girl stuff, do you have any questions about what we've done so far?
Stephen, just a comment, because I can't see the music. I have my iPad with the music in front of me, and I'm watching you on the PC.
Okay.
So people who can't see the music might pull it up on their phones.
Right. Well, most of them have printed it out, I hope. I know printers are becoming less common, though. I want to recommend you buy 4 used iPad Pros, and then you can have 4 pages showing at any given time. I saw a group of dulcimer players in a circle. There were 12 of them, and there were 2 rows, like a 2-row circle, and everyone had iPads, but the lights were low in the place, and it looked just like a UFO or something. It was amazing. These little dulcimer UFO ladies. Let's look at Freight Train. You might want to double check your tuning. Mine drifted a little. Now, the right way to string your dulcimer, you know, if you're at home, you could have a dulcimer dedicated to this tuning. And you could get the thicker gauge strings and have the bridge compensated and adjusted so that the strings stay in tune. They're nice and warm sounding. Freight Train. Now, this is a cool song. I want you to just
Steve,
hear a little bit of this. Yes, go ahead.
is there a reason why you've got little circles around some of the notes, some of the numbers?
Yeah, they show half notes, dotted half notes, and whole notes. Is that what you mean?
No, like on Freight Train on the third measure, those 2 4s, you've got little circles around them.
Yes, that shows that those are half notes.
Oh, okay.
It just gives you a little help there. Let's see. Hang on a second. What are we doing? Freight Train. Elizabeth Cotton. This is neat. Now check this out. Pete Seeger. He grew up with his brother, Mike Seeger, I think to some extent. They had different fathers, maybe? I forget. But anyway, they had a lady that was, I guess, their housemaid or whatever. And by coincidence, by some strange turn of fate, she was a pretty good guitar player. You know, so I want you to hear this tune we're getting ready to play. It's a good one.
Hey.
I got to get rid of this ad. Hang on. This song is simple, but once you know the story, it's inspiring and fun, and I love it. Let's see. Here we go. She plays it strung backwards and left-handed. All right, here's the beginning right here.
Freight train, run so fast. Freight train, run so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on. They won't know what route.
Notice she's using 2 fingers.
When I am dead and
All right, so make sure you look that up. I love it. It makes me happy. Let's play the thing here. See what you can do with it. I don't know that we're in the same key. We're going to do it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're not going very fast here. And I want you to look for something. This is an important thing to see. Whenever you see a bunch of the same number, it kind of tells you where to bar or where to hold down all the strings at the same number. For instance, right here, there's a lot of O's. Well, that's not true. Right here, there's a lot of O's on the bass and middle. So just notice that. But then when you get here, starting here and going all the way down into here, notice how many 4s you see on the bass and middle string. That's going to be where we hold down you could hold down all fours with 3 fingers. Or I like to hold down all the fours with 1 finger. If you're not used to that, you do have to build up a little tiny bit of callus. Nobody's ever going to see it, but you do have to toughen the muscles up a little. But the idea is, if you see a bunch of fours, then you're holding down all fours, and in addition to that, you're putting those extra melody notes in there. So let's look at another one like that. If you look at measures 7 and 8, you're going to see more O's, so you're back to O's. But look at measures 9 and 10. You've got a bunch of 2s there. So you're holding down 2, 2, 2, and in addition, adding the melody notes. Then in measures 11 and 12, you got a bunch of 3s everywhere, augmented by the 4s. And then when you get to the last line, you've got O's. And then look here, 3s and then 4s. So that's changes in the same measure. So to be clear about that, look, I'm holding down 3s and then I'm holding down 4s, all in the same measure. And then you end the tune with O's. But look right here. A bunch of 4s. I only do that if I'm not going to end it. Like if I'm just going to go back to the top and do it all again. So make sure you ask me about some of that if you're not sure what's going on. You're welcome to watch my hand one time through. Let's play it. A 1. Well, I want to see it too. Let's see. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's measure 2. Can you guys hear me okay? 1, 2, 3. Stay the 4s. Keep on the 4s. Now let go of the 4s. You have open strings. Bass, middle. Now we go to the 3rd line. A bunch of 2s. We'll have to talk about that. And then 3s. Bass, middle, bass. Next line opens. And then you do 3s, 4s, and then back to open. And then right here I do 4s. And then back to the top. I'm going to finger it a little different this time. I'm going to use multiple fingers with a thumb. I'm going to keep the 4s down, 2nd line. Using that thumb on the melody string. And then I'm going to let go, open. Keep that 5 ringing so it doesn't die. Next one, I'm going to go to 2s. Stop here and look at my hand. I'm holding down all 2s with a middle ring pinky, and then my thumb is up here on the melody at 5. If I know I don't want to hear that 2 on the melody, I might not even fret it at all. But if I'm improvising, I might want to go. I might want to leave that 2 down if I plan to get fancy. Generally, I don't hold things down that I'm not going to play, because I need to free up the fingers to allow for some cool stuff. Let's do the 3rd line. 1, 2, ready, go. This is a stretch. Tall Glazner would be proud. 3s. Next line. Hold down all 3s. 4s. And then just get again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3. Next line. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 3rd line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, Isn't that a sweet little tune? Now, one thing I didn't do is jazz it up. And I want to, this is a whole class I teach, but I want to mention it here because the next bunch of pieces would benefit from this, but we don't have time to do it. But I want you to know how I teach that class. Maybe you'll appreciate what I'm talking about here. Everything here is on the beat. There's nothing written on an and anywhere. And so it's very straight or square, as some people might say. But there is an and in the middle of everything here. So notice the bass string and the middle string, how I'm going between them like a bass player might. Or if you've ever learned fingerstyle guitar, they'll do this kind of thing. And you hear this the whole time. Something like that. I keep that going on the beat, nice and square, period. But the melody, every once in a while, I select any one of these notes. Let's say that I take this one. Let me zoom in even more. Like this 3 here. There's an and before it and an and after it. And any time you want to add a jazzy, syncopated sound, you either move this 3 to the and before it, or you move the 3 to the and after it. And what makes that sound good is it's in between some nice even stuff. So if you do this every once in a while, so I'll take this 6 and move it early, an and. I'll take this 5 and move it late, an and. I'll take this 3 and move it early, an and. But I keep all this stuff around it even and on the beat. And this starts to give you a syncopated sound, a bluesy, jazzy, ragtimey sound. But you don't write this out. And this is what this other class is, and I'll shut up about it. I mostly play what's on this paper. Let's say I'm right here. I start looking ahead and I think, you know what? Soon I'm going to displace something, either to the and before or the and after, but only the melody. So I want you to hear what that sounds like, and then I'll quit talking about it. But it's important, you know, you can write that in at first, but it's more effective to train someone to occasionally just do it without writing it in, because then it can be different every time. So listen to what it sounds like. Hear that? Sometimes I'm hitting the note early, sometimes I'm hitting it late. So know that if you could take the class I don't even offer right now, where I teach you to do that, train you to do that, all these next arrangements start to sound pretty cool. They're not so straight, but we're starting with straight and even, with nothing fancy. Let's look at Alabama Jubilee. Oh my goodness. I love this one. Can I get excited? This one gets me so excited. This is almost exciting as going into a cheese shop in Britain. I don't know. Stinking Bishop, Sally. That's the one for me. You just got to keep it in a separate, like a cooler or something. All right. Alabama Jubilee. Same kind of stuff. Look at measures 1 through 4. Lots of ones. So you're going to be holding down ones, maybe on all 3 strings. Not necessarily, but in this case, I think it'll help. Maybe while your thumb dances around. And I think, you know, I'm a non-thumb player, but watch my hand for a second. When I do this 1-3-5 tuning, so often I'm holding down something and the thumb is dancing all around, usually on the melody strings. That's what we're going for here. Look at measure 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to have all fours down. Next, third line doesn't really matter because we're just playing melody. Fourth line, lots of threes everywhere. Second page, this is a 2-pager. Make sure you can see both. Second page, first line, lots of ones. Second line, doesn't matter. Third line, you're holding threes and measure 25. And that's not obvious. It's not really, it doesn't tell you that. But in measure 5, I want you to keep the threes down. The whole measure. In measure 26, keep the 5s down. Measure 27, keep the 6s down. Measure 28, threes. 29, fours. And then open. Measure 31 and 32, threes. Now, here's another rule. You know how I'm having you hold down these other strings? If at any point that's uncomfortable, just let go of them and just play one string, you know. Before we play this, have you got any questions about anything? Laura says, are we still basically playing the key of D, or would it sound weird to play in this tuning with others who are in D? No, right now we are in D because we tuned to D, F sharp, A. Now you could tune to any major chord, E, G sharp, B, F, A, C, G, B, D. And this arrangement would sound fun, but if you want to play with another band that's in D, you gotta be in D. But yeah, we're using notes of D. If you asked me to do this on a regular dulcimer with a DAD tuning, I'd be very reluctant. All right. Let's play this sucker. 1, 2, ready, go. Hold. 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 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, ready, go. I want you to look up here. Some of you really need to think about this. Anytime you see a tie, I want you to consider this. If you're new to ties, look right here. 2 4s tied together with what looks like a little frown. That means those 2 notes now become 1. You hit the first one and you ring through the length of the second one, but you're only plucking once. But if you're new to ties, I want you to go ahead and ignore the tie and just pick both of these, because that's going to establish a foundation for you of knowing what's going on. But for those of you who know about ties, here's a tip. You're going to pick the first note of the tie, and then I want you to have a physical, settled, thumping feeling on the second note of the tie. You're not going to hit it, but look at my upper body. When I get to the second note of the tie, I do this. I want to feel something there. It's not just ambiguous. The beat is there, and the more you connect with that, I think the better your playing is going to be. So some of you go ahead and play the ties, and you can finger pick or strum this. Let's go again from the top. I'm going to strum it. 1, 2, ready, go. Hold. Hold. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Hold. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3. Third line. 1. Hold. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Here's the fourth line. Hold. Next line measure. All right, let me read this question here. Chris says you need a smaller dulcimer or a larger hand. It helps, but I'm pulling it off. I think when I use the thumb, it's fine, and I can get it pretty far with pinky and index, but the thumb's really good. Lend us, oh yeah, Shane, 338. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Basically, if you can't do the 338, just play an 8 by itself and don't hit the other 2 strings, something like that. Linda says, based on the time signature, don't ever do that, by the way, with folk music. It looks like Alabama Jubilee is in the key of G. Oh, you mean based on the key signature? Only 1 sharp, or am I missing something? That's a good point. I think you've caught an error. So, yes, there should be 2 sharps in the key signature. You know what I did is I first wrote this out in... Oh, no, wait. Yes, you're right. You're right. Wait. No, wait. I was right. This is in the key of G. Sorry. Whew. I hate when I was accidentally right. This is in the key of G, but it doesn't start on a G chord, and I'm sorry I didn't put the chords in. So it actually starts on the 6th chord of the key, which is in E7. A7. D7. G. Where am I? Here it is. It's in G. I'm getting so excited this morning. Let's talk about something else. Another question there. If I wasn't this excited, then I would have been a dentist or something. If you want to be a musician, you have to almost be unable to stop yourself. Full-time musician, unable. You can't stop yourself. That's why they say we're selfish. All right. Listen to what I'm doing here. This kind of, I don't know what you call it. Listen to this. Here I'm hitting the strings and then quickly stopping the sound. That's staccato, right? You strum it, but you come off of it. Here's staccato whole notes. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2. Here's staccato half notes. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3. Here's staccato quarter. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Here's staccato eighths. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. How am I getting that? Try this out with me. Let's hold down all ones. Strum them. And then I want you to stop pressing but maintain contact. Stop pressing but maintain contact with your fretting fingers. That's not quite staccato yet. What if I just make it shorter? Maintain contact. So you push when you want to hear it, and you let up to stop it, but you maintain contact. Very punchy sound, very common on other instruments. I want to hear what you're hearing. Hang on. Okay. I'm glad this is a 3-hour class. All right, here we go from the beginning. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice I'm swinging. If I add extra strums to this on the ands, or if I syncopate the melody, I'm doing it with a swing feel. But there's no ands here, so you don't hear them. You're adding them on your own. From the top. 1, 2, ready, go. Make those shorts. If you want to strum on the second note of the ties, that's okay. Strum wherever you want. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Get ready for the third line. I'm strumming things more than what's written. Middle string open, not open, sorry. Just flat pick it. Flat pick that middle. Next page. Making a lot of things staccato. I'm adding extra strums with a swing and then bass string flat pick it. Melody string by itself. All right, let's talk about that. Look at my hand, Tall Glazner land. Not everybody can be a basketball star. I want to show you what I got some people to do once. I went, so I go up, when I get to measure 25, just play the 8 only and make it staccato. And on the third beat of measure 25, just strum a 3, 3, 3. So measure 24, I'm going to play the 5, 6, 7. And then the 8 in the next measure by itself, make it staccato. And then just strum a 3, 3, 3. And then hit the 8 in the next measure along with the 5s. Some of this you can just do full strums the whole time. Look at measure 28. That's dissonant, but in context it works. All right, let's start with measure 21. You're supposed to be a tuba here, by the way. 1, 2, ready, go. Melody string, go up to the 8 by itself, and then a 3, 3, 3, and then play what's written. I gotta learn it. I tried to keep it simple for you there at the end. Let's do measure 29. Measure 29. 1, 2, little slower. And then that last thing I hit short like that. Let's listen to this one for a second. Where art thou? This is Alabama Jubilee. And the band I want you to hear is the Cheap Suit Serenaders. I wonder if they're in there, Sarah. And this band was made famous because R. Crumb, the weird comic book artist, he's in this band. Let's listen to this thing a little bit. Those are those parts where we just play one string. Listen right here, one string. Oh, let's hear the words.
See Deacon Jones when he rattles his bones. Old Parson Brown dancing around like a clown. Old Aunt Jemima
I can play
past 83, shouting out full of pep. Watch your step, watch your step. One-legged Joe is dancing around on his toe. Throws down his crutch and hollers, let her go. And then it's hail, hail, the gang's all hit for the Alabama Jubilee. Now rattle that guitar, Tommy.
All right, you get the idea. I mean, that's pretty cool stuff, you know. So I'll leave you guys with that. Any questions there? It says, Carol, does substituting 668 for the 338 in measure 25 work? I'm going to look at that. Let's see. Where is the darn thing? Okay. In measure 25. Now, let's see. The substituting 668. Well, no, I don't. Well, if here's the rule: if you like it, you do it. But I don't like it as well. But I might. The hard thing, you know, when you guys are better players, you get intuitive and you just try something out, see if it works. This 135 tuning, you'll go to do something intuitive and it just creates a mess. You have no idea what happened. It's just. That's the way it feels. Let's look at another one. I love doing this stuff. Basin Street Blues. Basin Street Blues. Yeah. Check this out. Let's see. This one is in the key of D. Basin Street is the street where all the white and the black folk meet, oh, down in New Orleans, land of dreams. You'll never, ever really get so much, but it really means. I'm glad to be, yes, sir, in the land of revelry. Oh, I can't lose those Basin Street Blues. So this is a really fun tune, kind of like the other one, this early century jazz stuff, but in the key of D. Now, what I did in this one is I put stuff on the end of the beat. So you now have something that's a little more fleshed out with that syncopation. And for that reason, it's trickier. And the same thing is true of this Salty Dog that we might have time to look at. I'm going to finger pick this one. 1, 2, let's see. I want you to make sure you see me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, and 2, and 3. Notice I'm swinging. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3. I love that. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Measure 11. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Next line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4. 1, and then it's back to the top. Let's do measures 1 and 2 over and over. Measures 1 and 2 over and over. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Do them again. Back to the top. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Do it again. Back to the top. 1 and 2 and hold it. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Let's do measures 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2. Do measures 3 and 4 again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And make sure you're feeling the swing with me. Measures 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And next line, 1. All right, now watch this one. On measure 5, check this out. I make the 1-1 staccato, and then I get off of it. Look what I do with my right hand here. Right after I make that staccato, watch my right hand. I lightly touch the strings with the right hand to silence them. And then I can move that left hand wherever I want. Sometimes I make it silent with just the left hand. And right after I do that, then I touch lightly with the right hand so I can move. Sometimes controlling your strings and keeping them quiet is an important skill. In measure 5, I make 1 staccato, and then I've got plenty of time to do this. Just on the melody string all by itself. And then measure 6. You're holding down all 4s there. Let's do measures 5 and 6. 1, 2, ready, go. Now get all your 4s down. Do measure 5 again. Staccato, get off of it. Melody string only, and then all 4s. Let's go to measure 7 now. Measure 7. Melody string only. Measure 8. And then right after this, go to a 2 on the middle. Hear that chromatic passing tone? Let's do measure 8. Measure 8. Ready, go. Next line. 5. 2, 2, 5. Keep the 2s down. Now in measure 11, you're going to hold down all 5s. This is tricky. It's a swing. 1 and 2. It might help if you count it. Ready? Do it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And next line, melody string only. 5, 5, 1. And I want you to do that same staccato trick in measure 13 and 14. Listen to the 1s. And then the 4s. Just 2 staccatos. Then I'm back to the melody string by itself. And then a 5 on the bass. And then 1, 2, 3 on the bass. 1. I like the dissonance of that because it's followed with the 4, 4, 7. Look at my left hand shaking left and right. Watch this. Do you hear how that shimmers a little? Because the strings are looser, this left and right produces a wider vibrato. I like that sound. Let me hear measure 16, even though I can't hear you. Measure 16. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... You could make a lot of that staccato so you're only hearing one note at a time, but you can also keep the 1 on the bass and let it ring, keep the 1 on the middle and let it ring, and you get a little dissonance that is rewarded once you get to the 4, 4, 7. Measure 16. Ready, go. and I make that staccato. Watch my left hand on that 4/4/7. What am I doing at the end? I'm pushing with the 7, and I just kind of, it's like an airplane taking off. I'm still pushing, but it's eventually takes off. And I like that little drop slide at the end. From the top, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Measure 2. Measure 3. I'm shimmering. I love that. Short, get off of it. All 4s. Melody string only. Swing it. Shimmer. Third line. All 5s. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Melody only. And then 2 staccatos here. Melody. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and then end on an 003, which is not written in there, but that would be the easiest chord to end on, I think. So let me wrap this class up. You guys have Salty Dog, which is very similar kind of sounds, similar moves. You've got If She's Gone, Let Her Go. This is one that would take a half hour at least. It says GBD, but as long as you are in a major chord tuning, D, F sharp A, then relative, you've got root, 3rd, 5th. Look up If She's Gone, Let Her Go on YouTube, David Schnaufer. It's a good tune for all the stalkers out there. If she's gone, let her go. I have a daughter. She needs to learn this song. Send to the crazy guy. Anyway, I love this topic. I'm glad we got to work through this stuff. If you have to go, you're welcome to go. I'm going to stick around for literally 1 or 2 minutes if you've got a question. I'm going to stop the recording. In my mind, you guys sounded great.